Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to be with you here in Cannes. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me. Huge congratulations on the film. For people who haven't seen Lucky Lou yet, can you give us a brief introduction? What can people expect going into this movie?
Yeah, it's a story about a delivery driver in New York City. Over 48 hours, his family's coming, and he finds his only source of income basically taken away from him. So he spends basically 2 thrilling days trying to figure it all out.
And such an intense, but also very visceral and kind of authentic experience watching this film. Maybe you can tell us a bit about the inspiration for the movie. Was this from personal experience, from things you observed living in New York City?
The inspiration came from in 2021 during COVID, one of the waves. I made a short film that was based off a delivery driver, and it was inspired by just seeing all these delivery drivers, delivering food every single day, every night, and I just was struck by who they were, their lives. They move all around us in the city, but they're invisible. We don't really look at them. So I really wanted to focus in on one story, one person, and just try to humanize them and make their life equally as important as everyone else. And so that's really what inspired it. But
And
yeah.
did you always have in mind that it would take this form where we're kind of following it in real time? Or was that something that sort of came to you later when you were writing it?
It was always intended to be a very kind of a boiler pot story where you just kind of jump in. There's no real precursor to the story. You just kind of follow him right away and just try to keep up as he tries to figure it out. Yeah.
And how did you know he was the right person to play your protagonist?
I mean, I've been watching him for many years. He's a legend. I saw him maybe 15 years ago in A Brighter Summer Day, and that kind of blew my mind, blew my world to, Asian cinema. And so he was number one choice for me and for the producers, and we just took our shot. We sent him the script, and he related to the character. But yeah.
And you really put him through the ringer in terms of actually having to go through a lot of what the character goes through. Were you at all intimidated by the prospect of playing this role? And was it quite an intense experience for you as well?
I think we are the first time working together. At the beginning, it's like Lloyd is a very upcoming new director for the feature film. So this time we work together, I feel very excited because Lloyd gave me a lot of space for acting. On the set, we did lots of improvised acting also. We run into the Chinatown in New York City. So it's very fun for me. And also reminds me I shot Choi Chang Chen's film 3 times. I think it's very similar. So in a way, from acting the Lou, the character, I feel very interesting. And I can use my life experience to give the character new life. So it's very fun work with Lloyd.
You capture New York in this really interesting way. It feels so real. It feels like we're there, but mustn't have been without its challenges, to be able to be all around the city, capturing all these people in the background. What were some of the highlights, but also the challenges of the shoot?
I mean, New York City is any filmmaker will say is one of the hardest cities to shoot in. It's just pure chaos. Everything will change every single day. It's almost guaranteed that there'll be a weather issue. There'll be locations falling through. There'll be crowds getting in the way. I think the biggest challenge was really making sure Chen blended in with the city. He became one with the crowd, one with the delivery drivers. I think that was very important for us to be authentic in that way. But I want you to tell the story of how you were running and the delivery driver came by.
Okay, there's a thing we shooting on the street, and I'm looking for the guy who stole my bike. So I bring the food and running on the street, and there's a guy, delivery guy, real one, and he saw me and he asked me, "What happened? Are you okay? You need help?" I think it's very true, and the emotional is very. People are really friendly. They help each other, and it's very touched. And I think it's fun of the making film with improvised acting. And also, I think I'm the first time working with the Fala, and we did a lot of improvised acting also. So I think the chemistry is very good. and it's fun.
And I think also, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche to say, you know, the city and the setting is like a character, but in a way it is. And I think almost if you were going to carry it through to like, you know, the idea of the American dream, it's a city that's both full of so much possibility, but also an incredibly brutal place. So is it also important to you to kind of capture that duality?
Yeah, I think that was very important from the start, was to not do a typical New York City movie with, you know, beautiful vista shots. It's really about capturing, you know, the reality, the grounded, you know, being with Chen, being with the character in the streets. And so we weren't chasing beauty, we weren't chasing typical sort of landmarks of New York City. You already know it's New York City by just the feeling of it. And so that was a really big thing for us to just stay true to what this character's experience is. And yeah.
And I think, you know, people who go about living in these cities, perhaps the people who are doing these jobs can feel quite invisible. And we don't, like you said at the beginning, like you don't think about that person dropping off your food delivery. You know, what's their life? Where have they come from? What's their background? What do you think the effect is of putting the audience in the shoes of someone like that? And perhaps give them a new perspective when they're going about their city and actually seeing the humanity in all the people around them.
I mean, I've already received the feedback that, you know, audience members just see their delivery driver a little bit differently. I think that's the greatest gift of this film is, you know, even service workers and the working class. I mean, they work so hard. They have, you know, their families, their dreams, you know, their problems. And so I hope this film just humanizes just a little bit for audiences, just to see them like us.
And for you, playing the character, did it make you reflect differently on being an immigrant in New York City?
I think the character Lu, the most attract me is his personality, because I think everyone have in his life will have some moment to choose how to do next step. You know, things happen, so you never know what will happen. But Lu at the end, his character is very like human kindly. I think not about his jobs, not about his situation. I think everyone, maybe I have the same feeling with him. I think it's a link. And that's why I like this film a lot. At the beginning, I read the script. So I work with Lloyd. I think I want to let the audience to feel that the kindly is very important, not about what you are or who you are.
I also liked that, although, you know, there is this kind of like social realist, you know, and there's a social commentary in there, it doesn't get too sort of weighed down by that. There's a levity there and a playfulness too. I mean, even when, you know, the guy answers the door and he's like stark bollock naked, you know, these sort of darkly comic moments, which kind of adds to the tension as well for the audience. Was that something important to you to also have in there?
Yeah, I think I didn't want to get bogged down in sort of the social realist like darkness. I think there's levity that especially I think the daughter brings. Yaya. I mean, that sort of her precocious adorableness is something that kind of keeps the engine of the film going as well, and keeps audiences like, you know, caring about him as a father. And so that was really important, was just those little beats of levity. And I think ending with hope was very important for us as well.
And did you enjoy those like slightly comic moments as well? Was that something fun for you to lean into?
We have a lot of discussion about how to do the scenes. Like I should be more harshy for the Yaya or not. Somehow, but in the end, Lloyd don't want any bad guy in the movie.
Yeah.
So we are choosing different way to act. So that's very interesting, right?
Yes, yeah. It was important there's no enemy in the film, right? It's really just a circumstance. Yeah. I will always remember the day we filmed that apartment scene. Yeah, but it was our last day before our break.
And finally, you know, I guess in terms of the commentary, I think the other thing that you could actually sort of draw upon is, yes, okay, a lot of these people are not helping him out, but is it really the individual's fault? Because each of those people is also trying to survive. They're not, like you say, they're not villains. They're not doing this to trip him up. They're worried about not having enough money, or they've got a busy day. So in a way, it's almost more broadly society that's a bit broken. And, you know, people are just falling through the cracks through no fault of their own, really. So do you think that's also kind of another undercurrent running through the film?
Yeah, I think, you know, in terms of the characters that he goes for help, I think it's really, you know, painting a picture of like everyone's going through their own issues, but I think it was important to show the kindness they also give back, and even in the past they gave kindness, but maybe his character, didn't do right as well. So I think it was creating this portrait of a man who wasn't just this wholesome immigrant. He's actually a very complex character. He's at times gray, he's at times very good, but also in his past, he wasn't the best friend or best business partner or best father. So I think that was very important at least for me, to capture in the script. And I think Chen brought that up beautifully with how he portrayed the character.
And just very quickly, what has it meant to you to have the film here at Cannes Film Festival? Being able to play it in front of the audience here must feel really special.
I mean, it's surreal to be here. We premiered the short here 3 years ago, and I remember telling myself, like, I'm not coming back until I have a feature film here, and I didn't expect it so soon. So it feels like a fever dream. The cast is here, the crew's here, and it feels just like a celebration finally for us. So it means a lot.
Oh, very excited. Later, I'm going to see the screening. So it will be my first time to see this movie. So.
Wow, I'm sure it's going to be an amazing moment.
Cool.
Thank you so much for sharing all that with me. Huge congratulations on
Thank
this
you.
film.
Thank you
I
so
really
much.
enjoyed presenting it here in Cannes.